All have seen Rus, all three? I am sure you can recognize where is potato and where is wheat and where is rice. Good? So you must recognize. Why? Scoring it will help. Without scoring, nothing moves. What is this? See, rust can move anywhere. Looking yellow, very beautiful, eh? What is this? UG99. See how it can kill wheat, border. Just to tell you, now the question is, why rusts are so important? One fellow was asking me, rusts are so... I said, wheat means rust. He said, how? Because sometime all breeding effort goes to rust breeding actually. The loss is enormous, wind-borne. Like drone they move, very difficult to control. They mutate, evolve. You are breeding, they are breeding, that's why. Well, modern wheat varieties, you know what they are? We are talking about breeding wheat. They are hybrid or composite or synthetic or what? They are pure line varieties. I hope you know what is pure line variety. Some hybrids are grown, but they are very rare. So we will focus on how to breed resistant pure line varieties. Some people, you know, they know it. There is no mixture, no multi-line, nothing. It's all pure line. So how we develop pure line varieties in wheat? Sorry, I used that animation, but it's not here. You all know how we develop, very simple. First, you need a crossing block where parents are there. And you identify or select which parent to use. Crossing block, you need not use everything. Then you make crosses. Pure line, so many people think if we make cross, it's a hybrid. Hybrid is when you use F1 generation as a commercial variety. See, variety is very complicated. Variety is a legal term. So if I start telling what is a variety, it will be another lecture. But variety is a legal term. If you try to protect it anyway. Then what you do after F1? In F1 also you'd reject something. Then a number of generations are there, 3, 4. By that time, segregating generation, they try to stabilize. In the end, you get 5, 6, F5, F6, when everything becomes little homozygous, not homogeneous, then you select, and then you replicate a trial, etc., etc. It's a very simple process, not complicated, but very hard work. Now this selection in segregating generations can be of different, you can handle in different way, bulk method, pedigree method. Now CIMMYT is telling to use selected bulk approach. Less cost, more efficiency. Very effective. So how to breed for resistance? See, resistance, don't think is something different. It's a trait. Resistance is a trait. Quality is a trait. Protein content is a trait. Plant height is a trait. So resistance is a trait. But you must know the genetics. What is seed which you give to farmer is actually genetics. You don't give anything to farmer. Take any seed, quality seed means what? Good genetics. Plant breeding means good genetics. So if you don't understand genetics, plant breeding will become an art. You will go back to 200 years ago, before Gregor John Mendel, the papa of genetics. So understanding genetics is very important. Then it becomes easier for you. So understand genetics of resistance, which is very simple, it's not complicated. Deploy at least one resistant parent. In our CISA project, it was mandatory for everyone to use at least one parent UG99 resistant. Then only that gene will move. Gene will not come from the air. God will not give you. God has given in the plant. So you must use at least one parent which is resistant. Then Follow normal breeding procedure without ignoring other core traits. If you are breeding only for resistance, sorry friends, maybe you are doing pre-breeding. Gordon showed a very good slide, pre-breeding. When you are breeding for farmer, you cannot ignore any other important trait. Core traits. I hope you know what are the core traits. What are the core traits? Ideally, should be present in our all wheats. High yield. You cannot ignore high yield. Rust is one of them. Water and nutrient use efficiency, drought tolerance, heat tolerance, and quality, end use quality. Whether you want to eat as a chapati, or a bread, or biscuit, or samosa, chola, bhatura, up to you. It's all wheat. What you were eating outside, mostly wheat. Rice was little bit. Although rice is number one. There is no number one crop actually. Rice, wheat, both are number one. You remove one and you will be in problem. Then there are other traits also. They may be core at some location, like spot blotch, if tan spot, kernel burnt, septoria, root rot, and micronutrient. Now Harvest Plus project is there, breeding for enhanced zinc and iron. It doesn't mean you are breeding only for zinc and iron. No resistance, yes. No yield, yes. No yield and high zinc, nobody will take it. So, it's a bundle of traits. A bullet with everything there. Okay? So breeding for resistance doesn't mean you are forgetting other things. So sometimes wheat pathologists may think that a breeder cannot. Breeder is a poor man. Always, people expect him to do everything. This is this problem. Resistance types of, you all know. Race specific. I am telling simple classification. There can be complicated things. Somebody's complex resistance. Somebody will say something else. Race specific. I think these people will tell you more. I am just telling you. Vertical major gene. Major genes means, what did Mendel? He was trying to study genes which had major effect. Easy to handle. Clean crop approach. But second is non-race specific. Horizontal minor genes. Very difficult. CIMMYT is working now in giving emphasis more on non-race specific because they are slow rusting, because they are durable. Long-lived genes. Long-lived resistance, sorry. This resistance is not easily overcome by pathogen. Pathogen is very intelligent, but these genes are very intelligent. There are so many. It's an army of genes. Now, boom and bust cycle. Why I am telling you? Because race is specific, I said vertical major gene. Very easy to handle. It's a major effect. Gene is there, clean crop. You can select a plant. But the problem is boom and bust cycle. When single race specific gene is used in cultivar development, variety is clean. If there is high yield, it becomes popular. And it becomes popular, is grown over a large area, like PBW343 in India, 8 to 9 million hectares. Sonalika one time, 14 million hectares. I know about example of India, there were about 6-7 varieties which crossed 5 to 6 million hectares, 5 million plus, whole belt like a carpet. Where pathogen will go? It will die? No. If I lock you here, what you will do? You will jump outside from, you will break this wall. So pathogen will mutate. It is under extreme pressure. Try to mutate. And then that is selected. So mutations occur in the pathogen to overcome resistance gene combinations. So a variety becomes popular, boom, then bust. Again you are looking. India, current example, Punjab, Haryana. HD2967. This variety crossed 6 million in 3 years. Fourth year it was 6 million hectares. And now government is writing, please withdraw. Why? And there are examples when a seed was multiplied and before it was taken to farmer field, it became susceptible. Pathogen is very intelligent. My friend Gordon was telling, other people tell, rust never sleeps. And last time we were talking, Zach, breeders should not sleep. Rest is not sleeping means you will sleep? No. You are also not supposed to sleep. You have to constantly think, work and work and work and work so that there is food security ensured. These people are traveling for what? Food security. It's a very serious job. So please take training very seriously, my request. If you are coming late, I'm sorry. You are losing something. Please come on time. You can sleep here a little bit if you want. It's allowed. Snoring is not allowed. Anyway, so boom and bust cycle is there.